Best bites forever.
Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Chef Alicia and today I'm making pork schnitzel. I'm starting off here with a very lovely piece of pork loin, but it is a little bit thicker than I want, so I'm going to cut it in half, which is going to give me two pieces that are about an inch thick each. Once I get this cut, I'm going to put both pieces over to the side and get a piece of parchment paper. I want to lay my pork right in between that parchment paper, and using the flat side of my mallet, I am going to pound it until it's nice and flat. You might have to stop every now and then and rearrange the pork inside of your parchment paper, and that's just fine, and you might get through the whole piece without having to move it, and that's fine too. But if you need to move it, just stop and give it a little rearrange in there and continue pounding. Once you think you have one side done, give it a little feel with your hand and then flip it over to the other side and pound that side too. I'm looking for this to be about 1/4 inch thick, so I'm going to check on it here in just a second. And as far as thickness is concerned, I would rather it be a little bit too thin than a little bit too thick, just to ensure that it cooks all the way through. So this is just the perfect thickness, that's right at 1/4 inch, so I just want to feel around and make sure I don't have any thicker places. And I did find one right here, so I'm going to go ahead and pound that spot just a couple more times to make sure it's even. Once I get all of my pork pounded out, I'm going to put it in the fridge and start my side dish. So here I just have some red cabbage. I'm adding in a little bit of fennel, about a teaspoon of kosher salt, and I'm also going to add in some fresh ground black pepper. Next, I'm going to add in a handful of golden raisins, and I'm going to stir that up and saute it until it's ready to go. This isn't a really traditional side dish, but I love it with it, so this is what I like to have. But you could have fries, or like a vinegary potato salad would be a bit more traditional. So now I'm ready to do my pork cutlets over here, and I'm going to start off just by adding a little bit of kosher salt and fresh ground pepper to each side. So I've done one side, and I'm just going to give it a little flip right inside the parchment paper. It's just a little bit easier to do it that way. And a little bit of kosher salt and a little bit of fresh ground pepper goes on this side as well. Once I have both sides seasoned, I need to do my standard breading procedure. So in this first bowl, I have some all-purpose flour mixed with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, probably a couple of cups of flour and maybe a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, if you're wondering the measurements there. I'm just very gently putting some of that flour mixture on there. I don't want to mash it and press it, because when you make a schnitzel, you want the breading to be very light and kind of puff up off of the meat. So the next step is to put it inside of the eggs, which I am doing here. Just want to get a nice little coat, and then over to my breadcrumbs. Again, when I do my breadcrumbs, in this case, I don't want to press down. I don't want to try to mush them into the meat. I almost want them floating above the meat. So a very gentle coat of your breadcrumbs, and give it a little shake, and this is going to go directly into the oil. Only do one of your pieces of meat at a time, because if you do several, it's going to make the breadcrumbs wet and it's going to make them stick to the meat, and that is not what we're looking for. So you should have some nice bubbles going on the sides of your meat as you're cooking it, and once you get one side cooked, flip it over and cook the other side, and you just want some nice golden brown color on it. As these are finishing, you can put them on a paper towel. If you're making quite a few, you can hold them in the oven at 200 degrees just to keep them warm for serving. And this is all ready to go, and this is what it's going to look like when I plate it up. Enjoy, everyone!
Hi again, everyone. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please give it a thumbs up or a like or whatever you want to call it. Also share it with all of your friends, because sharing is caring. And if you're not already a subscriber, please go ahead and click on the subscribe button and be a subscriber now, because you don't want to miss any of the upcoming awesomeness that's coming, because it's awesomeness. And you can find me on my other social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, and bestbitesforever.com, which is my blog. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Happy cooking, everyone.
Bestbitesforever.com.